The sea air was colder than she remembered. Lena Cross stood on the edge of the cliff, the wind tugging her long dark coat like it wanted her to fall. Below her, waves crashed violently against jagged rocks, mirroring the chaos inside her. It had been 6 months since the fire. 6 months since she lost everything, her fiancé, her home, and the version of herself that used to believe in safety. In love. In a future. Now, all that remained was ash. She had come to the small coastal town of Blackbridge not to heal, but to disappear. The cottage she'd inherited from a grandmother she barely knew was old, creaky, and full of shadows. But it offered silence, and that was all she needed. Until the man in black appeared. He was there at the cliffs. Just standing. Watching her. Tall. Cold. Beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Their eyes met for a single moment, and Lena felt something shift. A chill. A memory. A warning. She turned and left without a word. But she knew this wasn't the last time she'd see him. Strange things began to happen. Whispers in the night. Footsteps that didn't belong. Her fiancé's voice calling her in dreams, begging her to run. And always, the man. Sometimes he was across the street. Sometimes on the beach. Silent. Watching. Protecting. One night, Lena was nearly run over. A speeding car out of nowhere, no lights. And just before impact, a strong arm pulled her back. It was him. "You should be more careful," he said, voice low and rough like gravel. "You've been following me," she snapped. He looked at her, not with guilt, but sadness. Yes. Before she could question more, he was gone. She tried to find him. Asked locals. Described him. Damien Vire, an old man said with a pale face. "He's not someone you want to know, girl. Best stay away." But Lena couldn't. Something about him pulled her deeper every time. And then she found the ring. In the abandoned church at the edge of town, she had followed a whisper. She didn't know why. But there, on the altar, covered in dust, was his ring. Her fiancé's. And carved into the wood beneath it, was Damien's name. She stormed into the night, rage and confusion tearing her apart. "You knew him," she screamed when she found Damien standing by the graveyard. "Why do you have his ring?" He didn't flinch. Didn't lie. Just met her eyes and said, "Because I killed him." Her world stopped. The pain cracked open all over again, but this time with fire. "I tried to save him," Damien added, quietly. "But he made a choice. One that involved me. And you." She ran. Damien came to her cottage days later. He didn't knock. Just waited. Silent in the rain. "I didn't want you to know," he said. "Because once you do, your life will never be safe again." Lena, shaken, finally let him speak. He told her everything. About the curse. About immortality. About how every soul he tried to save was another weight on his own. About her fiancé's involvement in an ancient society that hunted cursed beings like Damien. "He betrayed you," Damien said. "He loved you, but he used you too." She didn't want to believe it. But the memories, the late nights, the secrets, fit. "I don't need your protection," she whispered. "I'm not protecting you," he said, stepping closer. "I'm protecting the world from what happens if you die." Their tension grew. So did their pain. And then it happened. In the rain. A kiss, born of fire and fury, of confusion and yearning. "I hate you," she breathed. "I know," he whispered. "But I've never hated you." Lena locked herself away. Damien's confession haunted her like a curse itself. She didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Just sat in the darkness replaying his words. And then came the letter. Slipped under her door in the dead of night. Sealed with blood-red wax. It contained two things, a photo of Damien standing beside her fiancé, and a symbol, an ancient sigil that burned into her skin as she touched it. She screamed in pain, the symbol branding her palm like a curse. Damien arrived moments later, kicking the door in. "You were marked," he said with panic. "By who?" "The Crimson Order. They know about you now." He took her hand and held it tightly. "You're part of this now, Lena. There's no turning back." Damien told her of the Order, an ancient society that hunts immortals, feeding on their blood to live longer, to gain power. Her fiancé had been a member, and Lena had been the bait. "They were going to use you to lure me in," Damien said. "But I came too early. And your fiancé chose to stand in their way. For once." She cried. Not for her lost love, but for the lie she lived. They began to hide together. Run. And in the silence of the forest, between campfires and endless nights of fear, they grew closer. Damien revealed his past, his curse to live forever, the lovers he'd lost, the sins he carried. "I've never wanted peace more than I do with you," he whispered. And Lena, though torn, kissed him in the dark. A kiss that tasted of sorrow, and fate. The Order found them. Lena was taken, bound in chains of silver that burned her flesh. She awoke in a cathedral soaked in blood, her name written in crimson across the altar. Damien came for her. He tore through the night like a demon from legend. But they were waiting. The high priest of the Order held out a dagger. "Choose, Lena. Die with him, or live without your soul." She didn't flinch. She stepped forward, took the blade, and turned it on herself. The blood poured onto the sigil. And it awakened something ancient. A pact. A new curse. The ground trembled. Screams echoed from the walls. Damien caught her as she fell. "You foolish, brave, beautiful soul." The Order fled as shadows consumed the cathedral. When Lena awoke, she was changed. "Your soul," Damien whispered, "is tied to mine now. If I die, you die too." They hid in an ancient castle surrounded by snow. But Lena was fading. Her body couldn't handle the shared curse. Damien tried to find a way out. Old magic. Forbidden blood rituals. And finally, he found it. A ritual that could break the bond. But it came at a cost, his life. He prepared everything. Drew the circle. Lit the candles. Lena begged him to stop. "Let me go," she cried. But he only smiled. "You were the first light I saw in centuries of night." The ritual began. And Lena screamed. But before the final words left his lips, she stepped into the circle. And said them with him. The magic turned. Twisted. And instead of breaking the bond, it reforged it. Balanced. She lived. He lived. But no longer cursed. Just, human. Together. Peace didn't last long. A new threat rose. A child of the Order. Born from their darkest magic. And it was hunting Lena. Damien fought to protect her. But as a human, he was no longer invincible. Lena had to choose, keep running, or become something more. She drank from the well of shadows. Took in the magic that once cursed Damien. Became the weapon they needed. Together, they fought. Fire and blood. Until the cathedral burned again. And the child of the Order was destroyed. But so was Lena's light. She had given too much. And she faded in Damien's arms. Years passed. Damien wandered the world, searching for a way to bring her back. And then, one day, at the cliffs where they first met, he saw her. Not a ghost. Not a vision. Lena. Alive. You found me, she whispered. I never stopped looking, he said. Their curse was gone. But their love endured. Not bound by blood or magic. But by choice. And sometimes, that's the strongest oath of all. The Crimson Oath.